Okay, so hey, what's going on, you guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Fortnite Mythbusters. I'm pretty sure we're on episode 83 or 84, something like that. But in today's episode, we have a whole ton of awesome myths that you guys suggested on the last episode. So if you do have a myth you like me to test in the next or future episodes of the Fortnite Mythbusters, make sure to go down in the comments and drop a comment of that myth for a pretty good chance to be featured. Before we begin today's video, make sure to go over to my Twitter account and drop me a follow. I'm going to be trying to respond to as many messages as I possibly can over the next couple of days, so if you want to talk to me one-on-one, this is probably your best chance. And don't forget to leave a like on today's episode if you do enjoy it at any moment. Let's see if we could smash 50 likes, that would be cool. And subscribe, turn on those post notifications to never miss another Fortnite Mythbusters episode. But without further ado, let's get right on in to today's video. Jumping straight into the first myth, the first myth is, can you hide in a porta potty from a junk rift? So you guys know here in Fortnite Chapter 2, there's some garbage cans as well as even the hay bales that you could jump in and hide, and nobody will even know you're there unless they destroy the hay bale or the garbage can. The same exact thing applies to the porta potties, which you will find around the map. Honestly, there's not really that many. It's quite rare. So with a junk rift, since there is a slight chance that it could spawn a porta potty falling from the sky, can you hide in that one as well? Obviously, the junk rifts aren't in the regular game mode of Fortnite right now, so I had to do a glitch back from the creative island and kind of do it side by side. And when the porta potty spawned in from the junk rift and crashed down onto the ground, it was halfway in the floor, which I guess if you want to theoretically speak, you can't open the door to hide in it, which is why you can't hide in the porta potty this way. But no, really, you can't hide in the porta potty that is from a junk rift. It's not even the same type of porta potty from the ones that you could actually hide in. I guess it's good to know if they ever do add this back, or if Fortnite ever updates their game again. They haven't in like a month. Going straight into the next myth. The next myth is, what happens when two harpoons collide with each other in midair? Now, we've tested this exact same myth out with literally every projectile and stuff in the game, like rocket, clingers, grenades, regular bullets, and they always have a different outcome. So what happens with the harpoon? When I tried this myth out in game, it was actually pretty difficult to do because you literally have to get it to collide in midair at the exact same time, and the harpoons, they shoot pretty quick. But after a whole ton of attempts, I was finally able to get them to collide at least twice in midair. Both times that the harpoons actually collided in midair, surprisingly, they acted the exact same way as if you were to shoot it at the floor or maybe even a wall. It automatically got sent back to the gun, but what was strange is that it didn't use a harpoon. Some of you may think that I had infinite ammo on, and that's why the ammo did not go down, but I even checked and it was off, and it was still at 10 bullets in the harpoon gun. This is definitely something you really did not need to know. I mean, this has no effect on gameplay at all, but I guess it's kind of cool to see. Jumping straight into the next myth. The next myth is, while swimming, if you're dolphin diving with the hop rock effect active, will the dolphin dive make you go higher? For those of you who don't know what the hop rock is, it's basically a thing that you can consume. It's like a crystal you consume, and your player, he has no gravity. It's like an anti-gravity rock, and you can jump pretty high. When I tried this out, I first tested to see how high you actually jump out of the water while swimming regularly, and then dive and do the little jump out, and I would say your head is about halfway up the little small wall on the side of the build, maybe even the top of it. So for safeties, we're gonna say like halfway up. I then spawned in myself some hop rocks and then tried to get into the water, and what is weird is that as soon as you touch the water, the hop rock effect deactivates. You no longer have the anti-gravity effect at all. The hop rock is supposed to last anywhere from, I believe it's 30 to 60 seconds, but this time I had it for a good 5-6 seconds. As soon as I touched the water, it went away. You don't have the hop rock effect anymore. So if Fortnite ever does add something similar to this in Fortnite Chapter 2, just keep in mind that you can't have the anti-gravity while you go into the water. So if you want to rotate with the anti-gravity, you have to be more careful. Going into the next myth. The next myth is, can you catch a fish in the pink water in Steamy Stacks? If you've never really landed at Steamy Stacks before, it's this location in the top corner of the map. It's basically a massive power plant using Kevin the Cube's power, which is why the water in the middle of the power plant is purple and it's all gooey or whatever. So can you actually fish in this and maybe even catch a fish or weapons? When I tried this out with a harpoon gun as well as even a regular fishing rod, every time you try and throw a lure into there, it just gets sent straight back immediately. I mean, you can't even fish in here, and if you do want to go and take a dive into the water, the wind from the power plant will just push you straight up, and you'll have to redeploy your glider out of there. But don't worry, if you do find a fishing rod, when you do land at Steamy stacks, you usually have to rotate to the zone, and there's a whole river going straight past there, which you could fish and I guess catch fish or slurp fish or whatever you really need. Going into the next myth is, can airstrike missiles get loot from the fishing spots like a regular rocket does, or even a grenade when you shoot it in the center? So these schools of fish that are in the middle of the rivers or the lake, basically wherever you want to fish at, which gives you the good loot. If you shoot a rocket or even throw a grenade and it explodes right near that, it'll actually drop all of the loot from that fishing hole. With the idea that an airstrike is actually rockets, will it behave the exact same way as a regular rocket? I tried this out, and as expected, the airstrikes, they're not as accurate as a regular rocket would be. But if the airstrike rocket does end up hitting right next to the fishing school, it'll actually pop up all of the loot, and you could get it super quick and easy. But this is a very loud way to fish just a single school. But I guess this is overall something good to know, just in case you see like 4 or 5 of these schools of fish right next to each other and you want to get all of the loot super quick. Similar to the last myth, this myth is, will a junk rift destroy one of the fishing areas when it's thrown in the direct center? When I tried this myth out, of course, like I said before, junk rifts are not in the regular game. So I tried this out in creative mode and threw a junk rift in literally the direct center of multiple schools of fish, and it literally went directly straight through, which it really doesn't make sense if you think about it. Whenever you throw like a regular junk rift down and the debris hits the ground, it'll make like a little bit of an explosion. So it's weird that it won't pop up all of the loot whenever you throw it into the direct center of one of these. But I don't know, I'm just thinking, like, who would really waste a junk rift in the middle of a fishing pond? Like, you could use that for way better things in a regular game anyways. Going into the next myth is, what happens if a mech goes into deep water? With the mech only being in Fortnite Chapter 1, and there was no water as deep as there is now in Fortnite Chapter 2. I mean, like in Chapter 1, there was no swimming physics at all. What happens when a mech goes into this water? Will it like literally swim or sink towards the bottom? I tried this out and I was actually pretty shocked to see that the mech, it swims. I mean, it doesn't have any swimming animation. It kind of just floats at the top, and it goes really fast. I'm not gonna lie, it goes really fast, and there's no way you could sink it. It's always gonna just stay floating up at the top. What I thought was really funny is whenever you jump up into the air and you're going to do like a massive smash straight down onto the ground and you land in this deep water, it'll get your character stuck in the physics like he's gonna do a stomp. Then as soon as the mech does reach land, it'll do the whole entire stomp effect, which I thought was pretty funny. Definitely something good to know, but let's hope Fortnite never brings the mech back into the game. That would be a disaster. Going into the last and final myth, this myth is, can you harpoon or fish a reboot card to your player in the game? You've seen all of the pro strats by Tfue and many of these big name pros in Fortnite tournaments where they always carry a harpoon gun and they pull like 500 materials to themselves when they literally have none, and it totally comes into clutch. So let's say your teammate gets fully killed and you break the walls, you see his reboot card in sight. Can you pull that to your player with a harpoon gun or even a fishing rod? After trying it with both a harpoon gun as well as a fishing rod, unfortunately you are not able to pull the reboot card over to yourself. I mean, just think about it, that would actually be insanely overpowered. You pull it to yourself, you then pick it up and then go reboot your teammate, and the enemies won't even know. They're thinking they're camping it, but you just pulled it from like a mile away. This is definitely a mechanic I think Fortnite should add into the game. I mean, it's definitely not overpowered, and especially if you could pull weapons and loot over to yourself, you should definitely be able to do the same with a reboot card. Anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed. If you have, make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel if you are new. Turn on those post notifications to never miss another Fortnite Mythbusters episode by me. Also, follow me on Twitter and Instagram. All my social medias are down below. I will be responding to as many of you guys as I can the next couple of days, and I will see you guys next time.